channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm going to show you how to get this simple office/interview appropriate makeup, or this could also be an everyday makeup idea for you. I really wanted to sit down and tone things back for a moment on my channel. If you're a follower of mine, you know the kind of looks that I normally put out, and if you are new, hi, hello, welcome. Be sure to hit the subscribe button before you head out today. Join the fam. And I like to do a lot of heavy glam, really dramatic, bright, colorful looks, but there are times and places where you need to tone things back. So I thought that I would give you guys this makeup tutorial just to give you an idea if you wanted a little bit of oomph to your everyday makeup or to your office makeup, or if you have a job interview coming up and you want something that is going to stand out but not be too much, and something that is a little bit more than like the basic, you know, foundation on your face and mascara, this is going to be the video for you. I'm going to walk you through every step. As you see, it's a long one. This is why I normally don't do full face videos on my channel, because I just talk and talk and talk about products way too much. But I just wanted to share this with you guys. It is really simple. It takes me like maybe 30 minutes, and that's with me taking my time normally doing it. When I'm doing a video talking and explaining, of course it takes longer, but just know that this is an easily 20-minute or under achievable look. When I was working in an office setting, I did like to glam up my makeup because that is just my personal preference. So for some people this still might be a lot, but for me this is really toned down. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments before we get started what you would like to see on my channel next. I would love to hear from you. Let's roll into it. So to have my eyes primed, I just outline my brows because that's just what I do. I'm so used to doing eyes first. You could definitely do your face first and eyeshadow last because this isn't going to be a messy look. It's just what I'm used to. I just put down some concealer, set it with a powder so there's a nice smooth finish. This is really going to help give the neutral shadows something really nice and easy to blend out to. If you really wanted to have an impactful or more pigmented look, then you could leave your base wet or tacky. But just because we're doing a simple look today that's pretty neutral and everyday, I just set it to make blending easier. This is the Friendcation palette by Desi and Katie, and they collaborated with Dose of Colors for this palette. It is hands down one of my top palettes of all time. It's kind of the perfect everyday palette, and there's a few fun pops of color. So I'm just going to show you, we're basically using 3 colors from this palette. We're going to be using this color right here, this lighter brown, this darker brown, and then we're going to be using this shimmer right here. To get started, I'm just picking up my Morphe M433. I just dipped around into that palette, getting rid of the excess, and then what I'm going to do is hug this into the crease. I always angle my brush kind of the way that my socket goes. That's just how I apply most of my shadows for a rounded look. If you wanted to make this a little bit more different or not as basic, you could also wing your shadow out this way for a little bit of flair, but we're gonna keep it pretty basic today. I really love the formulation of this Dose of Colors palette because the shadows are so easy to apply, so easy to blend out. You need hardly anything, and it is a pretty effortless look. So I'm just applying this, and then whatever is left, I'm going up towards my brow bone. And I did bring that shadow all the way in. Now I'm just going to start to put some shadow on the outer third of my lid. Taking a bigger fluffy brush with no product, I'm just going to blend this upward towards the brow bone, so it just kind of fades away into that area. Next, we're going to add a little bit of definition and dimension to the eyes, so I'm taking this Morphe M506 brush. You can use any brush. If you have a liner brush, you could even take like a pencil brush for this. I'm just so used to using this. So I picked up that brown shadow and I tapped most of it off, and then what I'm going to do is hold this almost perpendicular, but I have it at a slight upward angle. And then I'm just going to get this right in between my lashes, and this is going to give us like a softer liner. I don't even know like the last time I really even used liquid liner. I've just been doing this technique, and then whatever is left, I kind of work its way towards the inner corner. So that's just gonna give some soft definition to the lash line and just have like a little nice smoky effect. Now whatever is left on this brush, and I mean like with pressure wise, I'm holding it at the very end of the brush. So the lighter the pressure, the further away you wanna hold it, the more pressure and more control you want, the closer you want your hand down to where the bristles are. But because I want just the lightest pressure, because I don't wanna make this too dark, I'm just gonna, you know, extend out this line and start to put it right here, just ever so slightly into the crease. And this is probably where you want to spend the most time blending, because you just really want it to fade into nothing, because you do want it to be nice and subtle. So now I'm just going back with the original brush, no new product, and I'm just going to blend that together. And you can see it just kind of melts and disappears into one another. There's no harsh lines. There's no like, this is where it starts, this is where it ends. It just all nicely flows together. And then if you really wanted to, you can give a once over again with the fluffy brush. Now comes my favorite part of the look, is adding that sparkle and shimmer. And in person and in sunlight, it is even more intense and glittery. Like, it's not like super intense, like too much. It's just like so subtle, but striking and pretty at the same time. It is just like, honestly, just a stunning pigment, glitter, whatever you want to call it. I think that Dose of Colors has like a really unique formula with these shadows. So I just apply with my finger because it's easy, and I'm just putting that in the inner corner. I'm also not being afraid of putting this into the crease, kind of like following the natural shape of my eyeball. So my eyeball goes to about here. That's just where I'm applying. I'm going to take 2 layers of this because I do like a lot of sparkle. And I'm applying this halfway through my lid. So just kind of adds that little bit of pizzazz. And then if you have like a little bit of a messy area in the outer corner, just take your brush, no new product, and just blend out that outer edge. It'll kind of like flick away some of the glitter bits, and then everything just looks nice and seamless. And that is going to be it for the upper lids. This is so easy, but it just looks so lovely put together. Let's move on to the rest of the face. I'm filming like at the most awkward time of day because I have these mini windows and the sun is like right there, so let's ignore that. I always like to give my primers and moisturizers time to soak in before I actually go in with foundation. That's another reason why I like to do my eyes first. But before I got started today, I did use my Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream Moisturizer. Just lightweight, and it gives me that moisture I need. I do have dry skin. And then for base, I recently picked up the Milk Hydro Grip because I heard great things about it. I heard that it is dry skin friendly. So I went ahead and applied this onto my face. It is so tacky and sticky when you first apply it. And it even says on the packaging to let it sit for at least a minute before you go in with foundation. And it kind of like isn't as tacky, but it still has like that good stick factor to it. So you know your foundation is gonna last a long time. Speaking of long lasting foundations, I'm using my Tarte Found Sealer today. If you guys would like a review on that, it will be linked right up there. I test it in 100-degree heat so you can see how it withstands everything. My body is a lot more tan than my face, so don't be alarmed when I'm applying this color. I'm using the shade 34N Medium Neutral. I do have some hyperpigmentation and redness to my skin, but this foundation does a pretty good job of covering everything up. I also don't want it to be like too perfect or like a super full flawless base just for kind of every day. So I don't really mind if I have some spots that shine through, but that again comes down to personal preference. So if you are someone that prefers to cover your redness, you can go in and spot conceal before you go in with foundation. I had somebody ask, why do I pull my nose to the side? Because we have creases here, and if I just like go around, it doesn't get into that crease. So I just kind of pull my nose to the side and make sure that I'm stamping the foundation into that area. It also helps cover like right under here. I do have a lot of redness that won't get covered if I don't move my nose that way. It's kind of like a weird thing to address, but someone asked, so. Now for concealer, if you're somebody like me and your concealer is like a little bit too light, I will show you how to fix that, but I'm just taking this Makeup Revolution concealer in the shade C6. I'm not using a ton of this, and I just like working one eye at a time. So I also have my setting powder on standby. I use the RCMA No Color Translucent Powder, even though it's in the e.l.f. package. The RCMA packaging is horrible. If you know, you know. So I'm just gonna blend this out and set it. I will say I like this concealer. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an exact dupe for Shape Tape like some people. I've seen that as a recommendation. In my opinion, after a long day, I notice I get shiny right here, and it's not the foundation, it's actually where I have the concealer set down. So keep that in mind. Anywhere that you use this, it will look shiny after about 8 hours. So if you feel like your concealer is a little bit too light, what you can do is go back in with your sponge, no new product, and just kind of blend out that edge, and it'll just help give it a little bit more of a seamless blend into your foundation without it looking too obvious. I also do a light set down the side of my nose too, just like as a little bit of baking, but I don't do a lot of baking. I know that there are people that leave that on for like 20 minutes. I have dry skin, so that doesn't work the best for me. I also don't really highlight my forehead, chin, or nose like a lot of people do. I just don't like that look on myself. And again, with this concealer, you do get shiny after wearing it a while. So that's another reason why I choose to not highlight my face in that way. Now it is time to finish up the eyes. I just went ahead quickly and set the rest of my face with that powder. So I'm picking up the dark brown again. I'm using a Morphe E36, so just a small pencil brush. And I'm just going to quickly put this under my eye area. Again, you want to make sure that you're really tapping your brush off so it's not too dark. I just like bringing this from outer corner to inner corner and then connecting what was in the crease. So now that I quickly laid that down, I'm going to clean off the 506 that we were using. I'm going to go back into that first lighter brown, and I'm just going to run this right through here. This is going to help lighten up the dark shadow if you made it a little bit too dark, and it's also going to help blend it out to the lower lash line. And you can just kind of connect everything back up into your crease. Now it is time to get to work on the rest of the face. This is, I will admit, a little bit too dark and smoky for what I was going for. I didn't like clean my brush off quite as much as I wanted, but it's fine. Just make sure you're really with your brushes before you apply the shadow. So I did go in a little bit darker than I normally do. Yes, so for the rest of the face, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm picking up my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I absolutely love this bronzer. Normally, I pile it on. Like, honestly, my eyes, I did go a little bit more dramatic than usual. Normally I'm good at keeping that in check, but the rest of my face, it's really hard to keep in check because I am so used to going from 0 to 100. It's really hard for me to find a medium. So I'm gonna pick up not as much bronzer, and then what I like to do is just dab it on so you don't get any harsh lines. It just looks more natural. Nice and subtle. I also hit my forehead with my bronzer, and then I will move on to contouring. It sounds like a lot, but for me, it's really holding back and just like a light way of going about it. So for contour, I just go in with my Tarte contour in the shade Sculpt. Again, normally I use a lot more than this, but I just dipped in twice. I'm gonna tap off the extra, and then what I'm going to do again is very lightly tap in this area. So it's just gonna add a subtle bit more of definition without it being over the top or too much. Similar to like the eyeshadow, when you really wanna go light, you're holding your brush at the end. So it's a real light control. And then again, I just lightly go around my forehead, and then I'm going to contour my jawline and nose with this as well. Try to defeat that double chin. For the nose, I just want the slightest bit of definition. So I'm really like barely picking any powder off, tapping a lot of it off. And then again, I'm just going to use light tapping motions. You can also use light tapping motions if your foundation tends to break up on your nose. For me, I have that problem a lot, especially in winter when my skin is drier. I normally can't really contour my nose, but if you do really light tapping motions, it will help lay the product down without disrupting the foundation. It's really hard for me to find a foundation that doesn't break up on my nose. And as much as I like the Foundsealer, it still slightly does. So if you do have that problem, I just kind of lightly tap back over it with my sponge and just try to leave it alone. You can also draw freckles on top of your nose to help disguise it as well. I just use this sample Party Blush by Tarte. It is like a muted rose because I'm not a fan of bright blush colors. Not really a blush person. With this, I do like to contour with it more than actually use it as blush. So I put some on the apples of my cheeks, but I work most of the product in on further back. Now for highlight, this is where I really have to like reserve myself because again, I like to have a blinding highlight. So I go in a little bit more subtle. So I'm still using my Dose of Color Desi and Katie highlighters. I bought them both, so I'm using them. You don't have to use two different ones. This one is Mirame. It is more of like a rose gold highlight, and I picked this up with a Luxie 522. And I like to put highlight on my cheekbones because it looks a little bit flat, and then if you turn to your side, it's just blinding. I like to have it as a cohesive look. So technically, I use this as more of like a blush topper. So you can just see how there's some dimension and shine on my cheek now, and whatever is left, I will bring up to the highlight area. If I'm paler, I cannot bring this up to my cheekbones because it is too dark for me. Having a tan, I'm finally tan enough to use these highlights, and I'm so excited because they are gorgeous. And then this is Fuego, and it is straight up more of like a champagne gold color. So again, I am lightly going to apply this. If you do circular motions, it really will just hit the highest plane of your face instead of just like, you know, going like this and getting it everywhere. If you hold your hand further back and just do light circular motions, you'll really just get it on the highlight area and area that it needs to be. And I am someone that likes to have glow everywhere, so I put a little bit on my chin. I'm going to take a little bit and put it above my brow. Again, not everyone needs to do this. I doubt a lot of people even do this. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller eyeshadow brush and put this down the center of my nose. And then if you wanted a more concentrate highlight on your Cupid's bow, simple as that. I'm going to go ahead and fill my brows in off camera, and then we can be back to move along. All right, we are back with brows. I do get questions about my brows. As you can see, I pretty much have none. I start from scratch. I did have them microbladed a few years ago, so I still kind of have like a little bit of like that rough outline that I follow. I just use the Anastasia Brow Wiz. These things last forever. As much product as I have to use. Ulta has sales like every couple months, typically where it's buy one get one free. So when that sale happens, I normally will buy 4 of these at once and just kind of stock up, and I'm good for like the year. But yeah, I also wait until last to fill my brows in because you saw I was putting powder in this area. A lot of times when I'm doing more extreme makeup looks, I will be brushing my brow bone highlight, whether that's a matte shade or a shimmer, up in my brow area. So I don't want to take the time to fill them in just to have shimmer or powder get on top of them. So that's why I prefer to do my brows last. Personal preference. Now to show you how to get your makeup lasting even longer and lasting hopefully throughout the day. Setting spray is truly important. I feel like people that say setting sprays don't make a difference, they don't really work, they're a gimmick, might not be using the right setting sprays, because there are some where I'm like, has this even done anything? A lot of them basically will melt the powder into your skin and give you more of like a skin like dewier finish than it just looking like you have makeup sitting on your face, especially if you bake a lot. That could be good for you. The Morphe Satin Spray is a really nice dewy spray. But for long lasting power, Nothing can top the Urban Decay All-Nighter. I went a few months without using this because I ran out, and I noticed a huge difference in my makeup, how it was lasting. It was transferring a lot. This really helps keep it in place. So what I like to do, I have sensitive eyes, and notice if I get this spray near my eyes start to water. So I will just take my little compact, use it as a barrier. While that is still wet, you can use a fan if you want, but because the way that this sprayer is, it's not like a flawless mist. Like the Morphe one is like a flawless mist. This one can candle spit a little bit. So what I like to do is take my sponge, I make sure I don't have any powder or anything on it, and I just lightly tap around my face. This is also gonna help seal the spray onto your skin and help with the longevity of your makeup. I give one last curl to my lashes before I go in with mascara. I feel like a hair is sticking to me. So for mascara, I keep it relatively simple. I like the Maybelline Falsies Push-Up Angel Mascara. It really gives volume and length to my lashes. I really like to put most of the mascara and coat it at the base, and then just take whatever is left, work the way up. I really enjoy the shape of this brush because I feel like I'm really combing through my lashes, and I can kind of have some little time to like get them spread out how I want them and laid out how I want them. And they look pretty nice just like that. So I'm gonna give this a second to dry a little bit before I move on to my next mascara. Yes, I use 3 mascaras, So I don't always do this, but sometimes if I want to have a little bit more volume or thickness to my lashes, I then go in with the Maybelline Colossal Lashes. I start with the first one, I focus on the base. This mascara, I just focus on the end. So I'm not gonna go anywhere near the base. I'm just going to glide this through the tips of my lashes, and it's just gonna add some thickness and some volume. You just have to use this sparingly because at least with my lashes, it can start to get clumpy. And I just like my lashes to have like that wispy effect. So that just went and added a little bit of pizzazz to my lashes. Again, this is all personal preference. I am just like somebody that will sit and nitpick over my makeup. And if I'm not wearing falsies, I like my natural lashes to look as nice as possible. So for bottom mascara, because especially with that last one, the brush is really big. The first one I use is like that curved comb. So I feel like neither of those are great for your bottom lash. So I do splurge on the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara. This wand fits perfectly on your lower lash line, and it really does an excellent job of lengthening and separating your lower lashes. I have not had a mascara make my lower lashes look so nice. So I don't mind spending the extra money on a quote unquote higher end mascara. I personally wiggle at the root and then go down. And then if I want my lashes, if I ever want my lower lash line to have a little bit extra attention, I'll go in with the second coat. But since this is more of like a day-to-day, like office wear makeup, I will just leave it at 1 coat. And if you get mascara smudges, hang tight, because after we finish lips, I will show you how to correct it, because I always get smudgies doing my lower lash line, no matter how careful I am. Like I said, I am like a foundation lip person. I don't like all the pigment that is in my lip color, so I just use foundation lips, and normally I will just top with the gloss because I'm not really much of a lip person. So I'm just taking my KKW Beauty lip gloss in the shade Juicy. It's peachy, but it still goes on pretty clear. And you might be like, ooh, but give it a second. So there, it looks a lot better than what it did. A little bit of this goes a long way. Any kind of clear gloss. I really like the glosses, again, from the Desi and Katie collab with Dose of Colors. They're stunning and they last a long time. These KKW Beauty glosses are really great. So let's show you how to fix mascara smudges. All you need is a Q-tip or a spoolie. If I'm still here in my room, I just grab this spoolie. This is just like a little angled brush guy. And what I do is that I go where the smudgy is, and with very light pressure, because you don't want to swipe your makeup away, you just want to lightly like go like that, and your mascara smudges will come right off. You can also use a Q-tip. I just find that the spoolie gets it off the best. And if you have any up here, just sort of scrape them away. And you want to make sure that it's dry when you do this, because if it's wet, it can still smudge around. But more importantly, when it's dry on your skin, it is that much easier to flake off. So that is going to wrap it up for my easy everyday makeup, work, interview, even if you're just going out and about to lunch or dinner or something and you are not a super glam person. I really hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Now you guys see why I don't do full face videos, because I talk way too much. But yes, let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see from me next. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.